Hi, today we will tell you the storyline of a movie called Sniper: Ultimate Kill, which was released in 2017. Well, let's get straight to the story. Brandon Beckett, a Marine with the rank of gunnery sergeant, has just finished attending the funeral of his colleague, Worthington, who died by suicide. There, Major Richard Miller approaches him to offer him a mission to capture a drug cartel in Bogota, Colombia. The operation is being led by his own father, Thomas Beckett. Brandon was given no choice but to say no, and that very day, he signed up. He was flown to Bogota the same day and picked up by a DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, agent named Patrick Walsh for a meeting at the Bogota police station. Upon arrival, Brandon was greeted by Santiago, who was assigned to assist Brandon as an observer during the operation. Brandon was also introduced to Captain Garza, the local team leader and DEA contact. Also present at the meeting was Brandon's father, Master Sergeant at Arms Thomas Beckett. Thomas was actually retired as a gunnery sergeant, but he loved his job and was not ready to become a civilian. Therefore, he agreed to join this operation. Without waiting long, the meeting began. Garza handed over a folder of documents with information about the target, Jesus Morales, a Colombian drug cartel leader with a large territory and who led smuggling across the U.S. border. Garza said Morales had not been heard from in 10 years, until recently when he was implicated in the shooting death of his competitor, Diego. However, local police did not find the bullet that killed Diego. Brandon's job is to help the DEA team fight Morales' sniper team. Kate Estrada, the leader of the DEA team, arrived a few minutes into the meeting. She is a strict and stubborn leader. She immediately said that there was a change of plan, that the mission had to be carried out tomorrow instead of the day after. This left Brandon with less than 24 hours to learn the area of operations and so on. The next day, Brandon went down with Santiago, who was part of the Mustang team. They wore camouflage uniforms and stood by in a position south of the hill behind Morales' house. The DEA team, Alpha Team, led by Kate, followed and took a strategic position on the other side closer to the house. They were waiting for permission to act. Afterwards, Kate gave the code for her men to move closer to Morales' house. They sneaked in silently. Some members raided in, but there was no one in the house. Unbeknownst to them, the house was filled with bombs and activated immediately when their members entered. In an instant, some members of Team Alpha were blown away by the explosion, which overwhelmed Kate, and the enemy sniper team began to launch attacks. The Mustang team had not yet managed to locate the sniper's position. It was only after the second attack that Santiago detected the enemy sniper, who was 723 meters away from them, precisely among the trees. However, by the time Brandon counterattacked, the enemy had already fled. The operation quickly came to an end. Total casualties were 9 DEA agents, including Captain Garza. At headquarters, John Sampson, a special agent from the Department of Homeland Security, was waiting. He was tasked with overseeing the operation with Thomas Beckett. Brandon then told him what happened on the ground. Saying that Morales was not there, Kate added that it was a trap. Thomas then thought that there was a spy in the local police force for Morales. To make matters worse, Morales' snipers know how they work and are professionals. Brandon concluded that the real target was Kate, but was blocked by Garza. Seeing the high risk of continuing the operation, Sampson proposes that the team be disbanded. But Kate was having none of it. She had worked hard to study Morales for 3 years and was doing her best. She does not accept that the failure of today's operation is just bad luck, because there is a traitor in the police force. Brandon supports Kate's stance and asks for the next 48 hours to track Morales' true position. If it doesn't work within that time, they will retreat. Thomas agrees to give them more time and ends the meeting. Before Brandon left, Thomas reminded him to stay alert, because according to him, the sniper knew how Brandon worked. Sometime later, Brandon and Kate head to the DEA safe house to rest. Here, Kate thanks Brandon for supporting her in the office. They then discuss the sniper shot that killed Garza. According to Brandon's analysis, the shot was difficult, even impossible, due to the distance between the target and the shooting position. However, Kate firmly says she is not interested in the sniper. She is only focused on catching Morales. Brandon then criticized that such narrow thinking could take its toll. Kate looked upset to hear it and immediately left Brandon. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the sniper working for Morales, El Diablo, male, got information on Kate Estrada's current position over the phone. The mysterious caller also said that there was an American sniper with her, Brandon. Back to Kate, she decides to go for a drink at a bar where she confides in her confidant, Father Carlos. Carlos is not only Kate's advisor, but also has information about Morales' sniper, who is referred to as El Diablo, the devil. Carlos promised to contact Kate if there was any more information. Meanwhile, Brandon coordinates with Santiago to monitor the slums around the DEA safe house. That night, Santiago reports something suspicious at a coordinate. Brandon rushes to the roof to see the position in question. He spotted a surveillance laser, complete with bullet distance and travel time. Apparently, it was El Diablo, who was also stalking Brandon. Brandon fired first at Diablo's position. However, his enemy managed to dodge, and in turn, Diablo returned the attack. But Brandon also managed to dodge. The next morning, he and Thomas analyzed the bullet used by the enemy, a bullet that Brandon had only seen once. As a senior master sergeant, his father knew better than him that it was a laser-guided smart standard round. At headquarters, the team discusses the bullet findings in more detail with Major Richard, who says the bullet stopped being tested in 2014. He himself participated in testing it. Richard explained that the bullet utilized advanced technology with the ability to strike moving targets as far as 1.6 kilometers away. If Morales has such sophisticated equipment, there could be internal security issues given that only a few people have access to the rounds. Richard promised to investigate. After learning that the DEA safe house was not a safe place for the team, Sampson transferred them to the CIA safe house. On the way, Father Carlos informs Kate that El Diablo visited a woman named Maria last night. Carlos will text Maria's address to Kate, but isn't sure if she'll still be there when Kate arrives. Morales, on the other hand, knows he's wanted by the police, but he's not afraid. He has hired the best snipers to take out the police snipers. El Diablo came to him to collect his fee. However, Morales refused to pay El Diablo for failing to kill Brandon. He would find another sniper who could take out Brandon. In other words, Diablo was fired. On the way to the CIA safe house, the car carrying Kate and Brandon is suddenly attacked by a group of Morales' men. The firefight doesn't last long, but it does claim some casualties, including Santiago, while Kate just drives off to Maria's house. Brandon sees a text message with Maria Ramos's address on Kate's cell phone that she left behind, so he knows where to go. Meanwhile, Maria is surprised to be visited by Kate. Kate came alone without being escorted, while Maria's house was guarded by several men. When Kate was in trouble, Brandon arrived on time to help her. Maria herself turned out to have a weapon to protect herself, but it was useless because now Brandon arrived to help Kate. Afterwards, Kate pulls off Maria's necklace, which has a photo of her with El Diablo on the pendant. And Brandon sends the photo to headquarters and requests a scan of the identity of the man with Maria. He also reported the attack on the way and intended to find a hiding place. He disconnected the phone without revealing his location. Before long, Thomas mobilized a team to find the identity of the man in the photo and the reports of everyone who crossed the border. Sampson, on the other hand, seemed to disagree with Thomas. He didn't agree with Thomas prioritizing his son in this mission. However, Thomas felt they deserved the best support after all the failures. A moment later, Kate took Brandon to see Father Carlos. She asked for help to hide and dig up information about Morales' men that will make it easier for her to make an arrest. Meanwhile, on the same day, Major Richard reports irregularities in an increasing number of sniper cases. That day alone, there were 3 murders in the news, and all the victims were Morales' men. Richard was worried that Brandon had gone too far. On the other hand, Morales also complained to El Diablo and asked for his help. In the middle of the night, he sneaked into El Diablo's room, who was sleeping soundly with Maria. At first, El Diablo was about to refuse, considering Morales had already fired him. However, Morales showed him a suitcase of bigger paychecks and promised him multiples after Brandon and Kate were killed. With that, El Diablo went back to work for Morales. Back at Bogota Police Headquarters, Thomas's team managed to discover the identity of the man on Maria's necklace pendant. El Diablo's real name is Enrique Quintero, a former Defense Force sniper who once killed the son of an important figure. According to reports, Enrique El Diablo crossed from Venezuela to the eastern Colombian border 9 months ago and has since disappeared. They then discussed Kate and Brandon, who have yet to find out where they are hiding. John Sampson is furious that Brandon's actions have earned him a complaint from the Department of the Interior. He suggests that Kate and Brandon be sent home immediately so as not to add to the problem and hinder the work of Homeland Security. However, Richard and Thomas agreed to leave them alone for now. On the other hand, El Diablo gets information from a local resident that there are rumors that Pastor Carlos is helping Kate and Brandon. After that, Diablo told the man to arrest the two. Then he paid him with a wad of money. Elsewhere, Kate says that she got a text from Pastor Carlos to meet her somewhere. Kate then tried calling him twice to confirm, but Carlos didn't answer his phone. Brandon and Kate felt that something was wrong. Soon, they realized El Diablo already knew where they were. Brandon and Kate then found a strategic place to protect themselves. Brandon assembles his rifle just in case, while Kate monitors with her binoculars. Kate spots a suspicious van parked in front of a shop. However, Brandon doubts that the attacker came from that car, so he looks in all directions to find El Diablo's position. Not long after, a truck and several men emerged from it. Brandon recognized one of them as a thug from Maria's neighborhood. At first, they didn't seem to be doing anything significant, but after the truck left, it became apparent that they were hanging Father Carlos from a tree next to the church. Brandon knows this is a lure to get them both out. Kate is worried they'll be too late to save Father Carlos, but Brandon insists they wait in place. Therefore, Brandon decides to shoot the rope that hangs Father Carlos. Unfortunately, this made El Diablo see their position and start attacking. Of course, he realized that Brandon would dodge the attack. As a result, El Diablo deliberately shot Father Carlos on the spot. The next day, during the process of delivering Father Carlos's body, Brandon saw several young men who had confronted him at Maria's house. One of them immediately ran away when he saw Brandon. Brandon did not remain silent. He ran after the young man to a dead end. He then tried to persuade this man to tell him the location of Morales, emphasizing that he had killed the priest. However, the man was afraid he would be killed if he told, so Brandon promised to protect him. Shortly thereafter, the team surrounded Morales' hideout apartment and managed to arrest him along with several of his men. Sampson said that the United States Attorney General's office requested that Morales be tried in Miami. With Morales captured, Brandon's mission in Bogota was complete, but he was sure El Diablo wouldn't let Morales be arrested. Sure enough, El Diablo was seen entering Miami International Airport and had no problems at immigration. Just then, Morales landed in Miami's helicopter hangar. Thomas and Major Richard planned a strategy and predicted where El Diablo would attack. In addition, Richard also reported that there were 100 bullets missing from DARPA, the Military Technology Development Department, the same bullets used by El Diablo. With the help of his acquaintances in the department, Richard managed to get similar bullets. Sampson arrived a few minutes before Morales' trial. He was not informed of the tactics and plan. Therefore, he was surprised when Brandon told him that they were setting up a convoy as bait and taking Morales in a laundry van. The DEA team and Brandon were already in position watching.
Rolling thunder.
As expected, it wasn't long before El Diablo shot at the van he thought was carrying Morales. However, Brandon needs time to confirm his position, so Kate helps monitor and locate the building with the hole in the window. Meanwhile, Major Richard takes care of El Diablo's accomplice who shot at the van. In one precise shot, Brandon hit El Diablo. Not only that, Richard also managed to find out who the traitorous spy in the mission was. As it turned out, John Sampson was the one. After the attack was over, a confused Sampson realized that Morales was not in the van. Richard explained that the van was just a remote-controlled decoy to outwit El Diablo and the rogue Homeland Security agents working with Morales. Richard then cornered Sampson with valid evidence in the form of copies of every text message he sent. He had no choice but to confess. Sampson could only surrender. Meanwhile, the transfer of the real Morales was safe. He was in another car with DEA agent Patrick.